Thank you, and welcome to the Learning Cave down here. My name is Bob Scaglione. Some of you may know me from my short 23-year stint at Sharp Electronics. Some of you might know me from OwnerIQ. Others might know me at all. That's okay. We're all here to learn a little bit about programmatic, and I'm really glad we're doing that today at 1:30 rather than tomorrow, because at this time tomorrow we're going to be watching U.S. beat Germany, right? So, all right, yeah. Okay, thank you. All right, so to start this out, I'm going to show you just a short clip, so hang on and watch.
The road you're on, John Anderton, is the one less traveled. Make sure you are on time.
Good evening, John. You can move the old-fashioned John Anderton. Century 21 Styles provides gourmet cuisine. John Anderton, you can use a Guinness right about now.
Stressed out, John Anderton?
Escape from it all, Harrison. Get away, John Anderton. Forget your troubles.
So how many of you remember that movie, Minority Report? Okay, anyone want to guess what year that movie came out? Anyone? Just take a guess. A little later than that, 2002, right? So it's a while ago, right? And it looked kind of futuristic, right? Like something like that could possibly happen. And we'll go through kind of what we were watching. Well, so what's going on in the clip here? Our friend Tom Cruise is walking through a mall, and ads are being served up to him based on his interests. Hi, is that call for me, sir? Yeah, thanks a lot. Next, how do we know their interests? Okay, most likely based on interactions that people have with brands, not with things like demographics and psychographics. And this sounds kind of far-fetched, right? When we saw the movie 12 years ago, it seemed very futuristic. But think about what's happening, right? So in this movie, he's looking at flat panel displays that are all around him in a mall setting. That's happening today. And although we don't have this retinal eye scanning thing going on, we do have cell phones in our pockets, so advertisers and brands can identify who we are, what we are, where we are. A little scary, but some of it is for good because we're actually being served up things that are important to us. And probably the most important thing is the backbone of what was happening here. The backbone of the presentation of the movie here, the idea was that as a gentleman who's getting ads served to him based on his interests, right? And that sounds a little far-fetched, but it's happening today. It's really called programmatic buying or media buying, where you can actually give advertisers and brands the opportunity to send ads to people who've already indicated that they're interested in a specific product, just like what happened to Tom Cruise here. And it's on the rise. This is a big trend, right? So it's the fastest growing digital advertising segment, growing at 56% through 2016. Real-time bidding, which you'll hear about and learn about a little bit in a moment, will account for 22% of all advertising in the U.S. By the end of this year. And programmatic or automatic buying is the fastest growing advertising segment. It will account for over half of the advertising, digital advertising that happens in the U.S. this year. So it's here, it's happening, it's exciting, but my question to the folks here in the group, how many know that their company currently is using programmatic media buying? Nobody, and I'm not surprised, right? So really the CE space, the appliance space, some of the durable spaces, is not a lot of this going on, although it's growing at a fast rate. And so I'll explain why in a moment. So how many of you have heard of this or know what the heck programmatic is? A few of you, good. Okay, well, you're not alone. That's why we're here today. There was a panel that was done by the Winterberry Group, and it asked, what does programmatic media buying mean to you? And there are kind of three key terms they were looking for. One was it's automated. It includes something that's called real-time bidding. We'll explain that in a moment. And there's an auction system for advertisers to buy the ads that pop up on your screen when you go to a website, right? But look at the percentages here. These are not run-of-the-mill people. These are marketers they asked this question to, and just over half of them are able to identify these three things. So there's a simple definition of programmatic media buying, and then we'll go into a little bit of a demonstration of how it works. Definition is that programmatic media buying is the automated process of buying digital media at large scale using real-time bidding that's optimized for efficiency. Okay, so key points there. It's automated, it's digital, it's big, it's real-time, it's optimized. Okay, just keep that in mind. Why is this important? Because the struggle with advertisers today is capturing the consumer, and you can only capture them when they're in front of your ad. But if you look at the average consumer, they spend about 23 seconds in an aisle when they're shopping in a store, but they spend about 2 hours and 19 minutes online every day. So the path to purchase that we've known about in the past has become digital. The consumer is doing that online, either in their home or on their mobile device. The nice thing about it is that when you're using programmatic, you can do so with 100% accuracy, which means that if you know that you want to speak to people who are new moms, or people who are moving, or people who, for this group, are interested in buying big screen televisions because they've indicated interest in that, you can do so and advertise just to that group. So, how does it work? Well, I'm going to take you through the steps involved in programmatic media buying. So many of you may not know that when you go to a website and you hit enter and that site is loading, a lot of those ads that are around that page that's being loaded have not been purchased yet by an advertiser. All that happens in 20 milliseconds. 20 milliseconds is 2/100ths of a second. All of this that I'm going to show you happens for those ads to load on the page that you're about to see. So here's the example. This is Boston.com. This is a real situation. It's not a real screen grab, but it's something that OwnerIQ actually did sell to Bose, or we represented Bose and bought advertising on their behalf. So here's what happens. So the consumer goes to Boston.com. Boston.com indicates to an ad exchange, here it's OpenX, hey, we got an ad here that no one's purchased yet. Can you sell it for us, right? Now keep an eye on the little clock on the top left, and I'll show you how many milliseconds happen as these steps progress. So OpenX sends a message to companies like OwnerIQ, my company, as well as advertising.com, Trigit, MediaMath, and says, hey, here's a spot here open on Boston.com. Are you interested in buying this ad? Okay, this is 4 milliseconds. Okay, all of us then say, well, gee, what do we know about this consumer? Now, we're not collecting any personal information. We just know, based on cookie technology, where people travel on the web after they leave either a manufacturer or retail site. So, at the 12 millisecond spot, all of us identify for ourselves what we know about this consumer who's looking at this website. So, this part's a little made up because we don't know what they found, but let's assume that Trigit on the bottom said, hey, the customer's in Boston. Let's send them an Amtrak ad to get travels to New York. MediaMath might say, hey, this customer's in the Blue Kai auto segment, so let's send them a Ford ad. Advertising.com, part of AOL, will say, gee, this person goes to the finance page on AOL, so let's send them an ad for Capital One. OwnerIQ says, oh, we know that this customer has looked at Bose products on Newegg.com. Very different information, very targeted information about exactly what the consumer was looking for and where they looked for it. So based on that, we all make a decision how much we want to pay for this ad, right? So you can notice that, and these again are not real numbers, but in this instance, we did bid the highest. And the reason we can bid the highest is because we know the most information about where that customer's been, and having that information makes it a more important buy for our advertiser, Bose. So we say, yeah, we'll buy that ad for $1.80, and we're going to serve up a Bose ad. The way the ad exchanges work, you actually pay the next level down, so we actually pay $1.50. And based on that, we take that ad and we serve it up and we put it on that consumer's browser as the page being loaded. All that happened in 20 milliseconds. So we're not the only ones doing this, but we're the ones with the most first-person data, meaning we have relationships with over 350 websites that give us access to over 200 million consumers' behaviors online every month. And because of that, we can take those consumers and break them into segments. And we also have some very unique relationships with retailers and manufacturers, and probably our strongest segment is consumer electronics, followed by appliances. So those of you in the room here who are manufacturers, who are retailers, who are advertisers, who are agencies in that space, which most of you should be, this is something that you really should be doing within your own companies. So how was this done 5 to 10 years ago? Think back when the Minority Report actually showed, right? And so we thought it was so far-fetched that we could actually identify someone's interests based on their activities, maybe online or how they purchase product. But 5 or 10 years ago, it was manuals, not real time. It was based on general information like demographics, right? New moms, because they happen to have, they fall into an age segment. So we make some assumptions that they may have they're new moms that have children. We did it based on what we thought people would be interested in, and we did it based on categories that we, the marketers, put them in, not based on the actual activity that they had looking and shopping, researching for products online. So what's the opportunity for CE manufacturers and retailers? Well, it's quite unique. If you look at the path to purchase, as consumers travel around, I know when I was at Sharp, we used to always challenge our agency, tell us what the path to purchase is because we want to serve up an ad at the right time when they're ready to buy. And they would come back with this kind of spider web, say that, yeah, consumers go here, they go there, they go here, but they don't do it in any particular order. However, we do know that they do go to certain places, and this is a study by Forrester. Forrester said that most consumers go to search engines to shop for products, and that's not a surprise. You go to Google, you go to Bing, 62%. The next one down, almost as many people visit a manufacturer's website. 60% of them visit a manufacturer's website along the path to purchase, and right after that, a 57% visit a retailer's website. Think about your own shopping behavior. You probably do a little research. What is this thing? Which one do I want? I need more information about the product. I visit the manufacturer's site. Gee, I wonder how much it costs. I'll look at a retailer's site. Let me see if they carry that. Let me see what my other options are. You can maybe go back and forth a few times. But the key finding here is that 50% of people who visit a manufacturer's website actually make that purchase within 7 to 21 days. So these are in-market consumers getting ready to buy. What better place for you to advertise a product when you know the consumer's already been on that site looking at that product and will buy that product within 21 days. So why is it unique for CE manufacturers and retailers? Because their audience is so important to the other side. So for example, when you go to a retailer's website, the audience is shopping where manufacturers sell their stuff. When you go to a manufacturer's website, the audience is researching stuff that the retailer sells. So it's important for retailers and manufacturers to work together to share their audiences because they're going to actually increase sell-through and conversion. So this is a quote from our founder, Jay Habegger, 2011 in Ad Age. So he's predicting the future 3 years from 3 years ago. And he said, if you take this retailer ad network model and combine manufacturer data in a system where you open data sharing is encouraged, you're opening the door to unprecedented ad targeting. So what he's saying is that create a network that allows retailers and manufacturers to share each other's web audiences, and you're going to get incredible power of ad targeting. And that's exactly what we did. We created this opportunity for programmatic to unlock this relationship, this innate relationship between retailers and manufacturers. And OwnerIQ sits right in the middle between retailers and manufacturers. We're a DSP, we're a DMP. We collect data, we segment data, and then we offer advertising based on that data. And we sit between manufacturers like Pioneer, Panasonic, LG, Samsung, JVC, and retailers like H.H. Gregg and P.C. Richard. Those are the guys that you're selling your products if you're a manufacturer, and they want to talk to consumers that looked at products on your website. And that system that Jay had predicted we should have, we have now, which is called COEX. And what COEX does, it's a permission-based data management system. It's basically a page that you go online where you, as a manufacturer, can approve retailers who want to buy your audience, or you as a retailer can approve manufacturers who are interested in buying advertising against your audience. And it's all permission-based, it's secure, and it enables this cooperative sharing for advertising between partners of manufacturers and retailers. So one of the ones I want to talk about a little bit is called vendor-targeted marketing. So here's an example. I think it's even a real-life example. Both LG and P.C. Richard are both partners of ours. So in this example, a consumer went to LG's website and researched, specifically looked at refrigerators, okay, and then left, okay? And we have a cookie that traveled with that consumer, or sometimes called a pixel. That consumer leaves, and now maybe a day later, they jump up on Yahoo Finance. They pop up, that system kicks on that I showed you before, the programmatic buying, that gives OwnerIQ the opportunity to buy that ad that's about to appear on our page. We know that consumer's been to LG's site. We know that PC Richard is looking to talk to people who have looked at refrigerators on LG's site. we serve up a co-branded LG PC Richard ad with an offer saying, hey, come in this weekend, buy this refrigerator, get 10% off. We know that consumer's going to buy within 7 to 21 days. Hopefully that offer is going to get them up out of their chair and say, you know what, we really should go buy this refrigerator. We get a discount. PC Richard's right down the street, and we already looked at LG. We like them. And by the way, we know PC Richard's right down the street because we geo-target as well. There's another example, H.H. Gregg. We just visited them last week. Great partner of ours. So they work with other manufacturers. And again, they work with LG and Maytag and Panasonic and Frigidaire, and they target the audiences that go to look at specific products there, and then they serve up co-branded ads for JVC cameras or Frigidaire refrigerators or Miele, I think that's a coffee maker. And since H.H. Gregg's not everywhere in the country, we get to geo-target. So we only serve these ads to consumers who have looked at the product, who live in the area of H.H. Gregg. Flip it around. So what I just talked about was vendor-targeted marketing. We also have what's called retailer-targeted marketing. It's really just flipping the concept around, where it will give Bose, who's trying to sell headphones, or Intel trying to sell tablets, or Acer trying to sell handhelds, the opportunity to talk to people who've been on Newegg.com and looked at these specific products, not just their brand, but their competitor's brand. They looked at those products. We know they're intenders. They're interested in buying soon. Hey, why not send them a co-branded ad? So the other benefit is this happens across device, right? So later this year, we're going to be introducing a mobile version of what we do. So we'll have the opportunity to advertise not just to people who are sitting at home, but also who are on the go on their mobile devices. And it really is going to help marketers address that market or media fragmentation that happens today, where you may see an ad somewhere, but you don't see it somewhere else. So programmatic is changing shopper marketing. You've heard that term also, shopper marketing, really just the idea of advertising to someone who's in the process of buying. But this programmatic system really is empowering marketers and advertisers to do it by knowing exactly what the interests are of consumers while they are browsing online, researching products. So this concept is no longer limited to the retail store. The path to purchase has moved online, and marketers can use this to reach active consumers across devices who've already indicated they're interested in buying. One last topic is co-op advertising. So many times a manufacturer provides advertising dollars to a retailer to sell their products through at retail. And a lot of that advertising, the majority of that advertising goes to the weekly insert, right? The weekly insert. How many people read a Sunday paper here? Like 3, okay? 5. Most of the people do not read their Sunday paper, and one of our retailers we met with recently said that their circular that they put in the paper every week used to last in that consumer's home all week long, and the consumer would look at it and research stuff and think about what they're going to go and buy on the weekend. The research says they now only, that insert spends maybe about an hour in the consumer's home and that gets thrown away, many times not looked at. But the majority of the money spent on co-op, it's billions of dollars is spent on the insert, and no one's reading it. Okay, so really, if you're spending on weekly inserts, it's as good as sending smoke signals, right? You're sending up ideas, you're kind of burning your money, creating smoke, and you're talking to random people that may or may not be interested in the product you're trying to sell. Programmatic, real-time bidding, the products that we offer, vendor-targeted marketing, retailer-targeted marketing, it's like whispering someone's ear, right? It's not just someone you already know is interested in the product and saying, hey, this product's on sale this weekend at the store, go get it. Still, only 1% of co-op is spent on digital today. 1%. The rest of it is all spent on newspaper inserts, all those things. Huge opportunity for progressive retailers and manufacturers to advertise to people digitally. I was at a conference where one of our partners, Home Depot, spoke a couple of weeks ago, and he said that they used to have a weekly insert. Now they're doing a monthly insert, and they're taking the money from the other 3 weeks and putting it into digital. That's progressive. And I challenge anyone out there who's not thinking about switching their money away from inserts and analog to digital, that it's really something you need to do very quickly because your competitors are going to be doing it. So a few predictions. Amazon does this today, right? So you go to Amazon, and then you leave and you come back and you see ads for things you looked at. They're the biggest in this area, billions and billions of dollars. But by the end of this year, we predict that 70% of the top retailers will do this. We have exclusive relationships currently with retailers like CVS, Staples, Cabela's, Babies R Us, Peapod, Toys R Us, big national retailers. They are offering their web audience as a opportunity for either endemic, meaning things they sell online, brands they sell online, or non-endemic, brands that aren't even sold. They're offering their audience, like Disney selling to Toys R Us audience, because obviously you'd want to speak to folks who have kids, all right? So 70% of top retailers will do this by the end of the year, similar to Amazon. With the exception of a few holdouts, and they are here, I don't know in this room, but they're here, I've spoken to them a few, majority, almost all of the CE manufacturers are using our platform and already targeting and working with their retailers. And I'd say the same thing with the retailer side, a little slower than the manufacturer. The majority of shopper marketing strategies will include programmatic advertising by the end of this year. And currently, I mentioned that 1% of co-op is digital, but believe it or not, only 1/3 of manufacturers in the CE space even approve the use of digital as a way to spend their co-op dollars, which is crazy. We think by the end of this year, that's going to flip-flop, and 2/3 of the manufacturers will allow their retailers to spend their co-op dollars on digital. And programmatic has started online, but as I mentioned before, it quickly will evolve to mobile first. And there's already discussions on how they can serve up ads on TV in a programmatic fashion. And there are ways to do that. And so that's kind of advertising to the masses to advertising to individuals. That's how it's going to change. And to individuals where we already know have an interest in a very specific product. So that's programmatic. I hope you learned a little bit today. If you are interested in talking to anyone from OwnerIQ, we have a very small meeting room upstairs. It's called meeting room number 1. I have 3 handsome gentlemen from OwnerIQ in the center there. Guys, raise your hand. They don't want to be called handsome. They're looking to take someone to dinner so they can write off their expenses. So come by and meet with them and talk to them about programmatic, and any questions I can answer afterwards, I'd be happy to as well. Thanks very much for your attention.